flour, eggs, and milk and sugar. Then we mix it all together. And then after it's mixed, what do? We put it in the oven for a minute or two. Oh, hi, I didn't see you come in. My name is Penny Peterson. I am, wait a minute. They never give me my age, so it's all a DreamWorks because they're an asshole for not giving me a goddamn age. Whoops, must have been too harsh at the time. Let's just say I'm a girl who's between 9 and 10 years old. Anyways, I got a question for you. Did you ever watch a show called The Casagrandes? Well, if you haven't, it's a show spin-off of The Loud House, who, in the right minds, would think of the show to make two sets of the series at once. Well, before you answer, this is my opinion, so shut up, darn it. I went too harsh again. Anyways, the show centers on a young girl named Ronnie Ann who lives with her family in the market in an apartment. I wish I lived there, but unfortunately I don't have my own home, since I constantly live with my family, which they are on vacation, and they did not want me to mention their real names in the story. So moving on, there's a lost episode of The Cascades which got me really pissed off and it made me afraid of going to middle school. Here's how it all went. I have a pesky younger brother whose name was Justin, and for some reason cannot talk or communicate due to the fact that he lost his voice, because when I took him to see a show about how he got scared by the snake man who put on a snake in his ear. That was as weird as it was that day. The next day I was taking a bath because I forgot to showers, and I fell asleep, and I had this weird dream where I was introducing myself into the school where these Wakanians came in and started throwing basketballs in my face. I woke up before they could throw a bowling ball at me. I stepped out of the tub and got dressed. When I finished dressing, I got a knock on the door and opened it to see it was Rab Manels. He was about to take off the clothes I just put on, but before he could finish the rest, I just saved Adam Young by the member of Owl City. Later on, I decided to go for a walk as I needed some fresh air, and I met this young man whose name was Norman Bates. He worked on his very own hotel like Kaz from Courage the Cowardly Dog, and he told me since I'm 2 years away from attending middle school, I probably wouldn't be able to enjoy it because of dark reasons. He decided later that I should come to his college the next day and discuss why, and I alerted my parents and they accepted the deal. The next day, Norman gave me a text on the cell phone claiming that he's just outside, just like what the Uber driver would say back in the day. I realized that Norman had a tractor with a face. The tractor was named Terrence, and he came out from the island of Sodor, and we both drove into college that Norman went to. The first thing that happened when I walked in was the old cockerrill asking Norman who I was, and I introduced myself and claimed that I'll be sitting next to Earl Thatcher. When we got to know each other and the class started, the lesson was the day you probably don't know why I don't attend middle school. I never did the test since I wasn't ready for crap like this. Right after the old cockerrill announced that I will be watching an episode of The Cascades, that made me feel about today's topic. At first, we would sit around some commercials, and some commercials startled me, which was Genetical Lizard, claiming that he's a dentist because he wants a new dental business. The doctor, who happened to be Robert De Niro, began inspecting the lizard's teeth. It says on the usual narrator that says Giaco could help save 15% or more of car insurance if it was Rainbow Dash saying it. The next commercial had Slurly and Precious from Nutjob eating some McDonald's with their human friend named Leon or Perstein. And no, it was not any of my parents' names. It was just as someone whose last name was Peterson. The intro began with Ronnie Ann and Dela. They just kept on skating until they managed to run into Dick Willer. He said, "Hello, I'm Dick Willer. The following episode of the Castres family you are about to talk about why you don't want to start middle school. Enjoy the episode." The title of the episode was called Sid Chang Starts Middle School, and it started with Sid Chang having a shower at her house. She was singing the song about how middle school would be perfect and how she would succeed through it. Meanwhile, Ronnie Ann was in her apartment eating a delicious bowl of Fruity Pebbles. Project placements I mimicked in my head. And meanwhile, Bobby came into the room and told Ronnie Ann that they were going to Disneyland on Friday, which Ronnie Ann said, "Bobby, Disneyland got closed down due to health concerns. Plus, we live too far away." Bobby claimed that she made a good statement and walked away. Then it switched back to Sid, who was still showering, and a knock on the door made a claiming that Sid was in the shower for about a half an hour. She turned it off and then went back to get dressed. A time card popped up and it said 1 hour later, and the bus arrived. Ronnie Ann and Sid were getting on it, and they sat next to each other as usual. Sid looked very sad. Ronnie Ann wondered what was going on. Sid said, well, Ronnie Ann, I'm starting middle school today, and it looks like I can't go back to elementary school. Then it faded to Royal Woods Middle School. Lincoln was in Mr. Bolhoffeder's class, just working on the math test, when Bolhoffeder himself came in near him and said, hey, Lincoln, I must say that you, since you never liked this class but finally got over it, you've been doing so well, and you've secretly aced all my classes and much more. I recognized that Lincoln was sitting next to some people who didn't belong much to the show, such as Anthony Wiggle, Laura, Ashley Armbruster, Snowden, and Sage. Lincoln then asked on how the day was going until the classroom door knocked. I recognized that it was a new principal, Amos Slade. He then claimed that Sid Chang is a new student in the class, which she sat next to Lincoln with a sad expression on her face. She put her head down and began to cry. Lincoln tried to help her by introducing himself, but Sid tried to calm herself down, only claiming that she's been separated, and since she had no friends right now. I'll be your friend, Lincoln said. Sid Chang finally happy, and she shook Lincoln's hand. Meanwhile, at Royal Woods Elementary, Ronnie Ann was having a break at her school when her cell phone rang, and Lincoln called, claiming that ever since Sid moved to middle school, he became her new friend. Then, after that, it was transitioned to the cafeteria, where Lincoln was with his friend Clyde, and they were about to get some delicious cheeseburgers. You know, upon watching this, the title of the episode felt misleading because it had some scenes that would focus on Lincoln and Ronnie Ann. After the lunch person happened to be Ernie from Peppermint Park, he served the food off to Clyde and Lincoln and went after lunch. Lincoln was in math class with Charmex as a teacher. While the teacher was teaching, Charmex got confused and said, "Where is Sid Chang? She's the new student in my class and she's late?" Lincoln decided to go up and look for her, but he did manage to find her in the boys' locker room, taking a shower since she could not go being separated from Ronnie Ann. Lincoln gasped as and went to tell the principal. Here's how the conversation went. Amos said, "Hey, Lincoln Buckaroo, what's going on?" "There's a new student in my class who's a girl, and she's in the boys' locker room showering." "What? Well, that's not acceptable. She knows that there's a sign for which bathroom is correct. Thanks for letting me know. I'll send her to the office immediately. Also, you are free to go home early." Sid Chang was scrubbing her shoulders until Amos, who seemed pissed off, yelled into the speaker, "Sid Chang, get your slimy little communist ass down to my office now." I did not like what I heard about of Amos Slade's mouth. Sid Chang shut off the shower and got dressed and rushed to the principal's office. "Did I do something wrong, sir?" Sid asked. Amos had his fist on the table and said, "Lincoln told me that you were caught using the boys' locker room." She tried to explain to the female locker room was overtaken by people, and Amos didn't believe her, and then ended up suspending her for 2 weeks. The next scene showed Lincoln and Ronnie Ann. They were walking down the street, talking about how Sid got suspended from school. Then Ronnie Ann looked up at the camera and saying, "Well, kids, the reason why you should not attend middle school or high school is because you'll either have a strict principal and whatnot." Then some of the episode ended there, and the bell rang, and as soon as I took my cell phone out, we were all left early, and I was given a ride home by Norman. I thanked him for the trip he gave me. I went to my bedroom to play on the PS4. When I sat down on my bed, I heard a voice that said, "Hello, lovely." The voice came from my closet, and I got up to see what it was. It was Jib Jab that was about. I went to my closet and found out it came from Egypt, claiming that he'd been starving for over 9 days and was asking for some food. I went to the kitchen and got my box of Captain Crunch and some apple juice, and he came out with me. We talked about Justin, as he always complains about there was always a monster in his closet, but he was actually a man instead. It showed Justin in the closet, and he stopped complaining. The man in the closet left later on. I was about to take a shower when the door knocked. The next thing happened really through that regretted me doing this was I opened the door and was greeted by the Cat in the Hat. He had a hole in both his hands, and he said, "Time to die." I screamed and shut the door, but as a few more people planned to kill me, such as Cats, Mr. Owl, Danny DeVito, and even Alec Baldwin, they chased me around the house while I screamed for help. But luckily I was saved by the man in the closet. He had a staff and a bunch of mosquitoes chasing after them. I thanked him and he gave me a $100 bill. What a weird day. So remember, don't attend middle school because you could get a pretty strict principal and whatnot. So have a good day, chummy chum. And that, my little pretties, was Sid Chang Starts Middle School. The Casagrandes lost episode, Funny Pasta, written by Ashley Armbruster. My final thoughts on the story? Well, I could definitely say that this is actually a really good, funny pasta. Now, in regards to the middle school, I think that's pretty much in the states. With the middle school, well, here's something. In Canada, as far as I know, we don't have middle schools. Well, I think we do, but I might have been wrong. But our elementary schools go up till maybe around grade 8, most likely, from kindergarten to grade 8. That's what our elementary schools are like. But with that being the case, I'm going to explain this right here, right now. I actually found this story to be rather good in many ways than I could count. I actually found this story to be rather good, well made, and even the grammar and all that was really well made too. Sitting there and you know, well, basically, it's kind of like this lost episode, the Casagrandes or something. It's a spin-off to the Loud House. And I'm not that crazy on the Loud House, but I do like how, most of the stories are. Like, as long as there's time and effort into the story, it's actually pretty well made. So, with that being said, I actually found this story to be rather silly and funny. I did have to, like I said, when it comes to these funny pastas, I have to keep, rereading this story multiple times so that I don't sit there and start bursting out laughing at random parts. Like, maybe that might happen once in a while. But with that being said, I could definitely say this is actually a pretty well made story. Now, with that being said, I definitely have to say, with Amos Slade being the principal was really well done. Like, and I can imagine, and I will definitely, give, this story a benefit of the doubt on, why you should not attend to middle school. Yeah. Or high school. Yeah. Principals nowadays, and even teachers too, they become more strict with their students. And, that can actually be one of the good reasons why people don't attend to middle school or high school because of that. And that's another reason why some people don't go to middle or high school, which I definitely understand that being the case. But yet again, who am I to judge, people? Who am I to judge? So I'm just saying that because, well, why not? So anyways, I do like how this story went out. It was actually believable in many ways I can count. It's actually a really well made story. It really brings out the pretty good attention and good concept when it came to the story. So that I could definitely say the story was actually really well made in detail. Now I definitely have to say I do like how everything went out. It was just really amazing and really well made. And I definitely have to say to the author, you did a pretty good job with this story. Ashley Armbruster, this was actually a pretty good story. And now I will get to your other stories too. It's just going to take me some time because, well, I'm busy nowadays trying to get to everyone's stories and that. So they do take time. But with that being said, I definitely have to say this was actually a really well made story. So I definitely gotta say, this was awesome. Definitely have to say, you actually did a pretty good job with this story. So I definitely have to say it was actually pretty interesting. So, with that being said, I'm gonna sit there and say, well, this is not really a long review. I just thought, I just sit there and say. Now, the grammar is pretty good, like I said, sentence structuring, everything about it. This is actually believable in a funny pasta sense. Like, if this was supposed to be a creepypasta, then I would have, broke down the story with all the flaws and all that. Like, this is all pretty silly. Like, I know it's meant to be a funny / troll pasta, and it's not meant to be taken seriously, but I decided, what I'm explained and trying to get it out of my chest here. So, if this was a creepypasta, I would have broke it down and, explained the flaws. But other than that, it's a pretty good story. Really do have to say, it's a really, 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 really good story. There's definitely lots of time and effort into the story. I'm definitely saying that right now. This is actually a really well made story. So if you guys want to read it, feel free to read it. It's on the CJ March wiki, which is a pretty good wiki for certain stories. But yet again, that's actually a pretty something when it came to that. So I'm definitely gonna have to say right here, right now, that this is actually a really good story, really well made. Love how the plot went out. It was pretty amazing. It's a good funny pasta, and I might do a lot, and I've done a Loud House funny pasta just the other day, and it's actually pretty good. So with that being said, I'm gonna sit there and wrap up the review. Like, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story would have to be a 10 out of 10. It's a great story, very well made. I really like how it all went out. It was very funny, really awesome. It's just flat out amazing and stuff. It's just Wow, it's just amazing and awesome. And the fact that Charmex is like a teacher, oh my goodness. That would be funny if Charmex was the teacher like that. That would be funny. I would really like to see that. So, I guess I kind of, go over with it already, but I'm just gonna say this right now. Like I'm gonna say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas or funny pastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. Oh yeah, I already said my final rating and all that, but anyways, what did you guys think about this creepypasta or funny pasta, whatever you guys prefer to call it? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better. Leave me know your thoughts down in the comments section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload so then you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out of here. And I'll be catching you all in the next video. So peace out, everyone. And as always, roll the outro because I'm